Hello. It's beautiful out, don't you think? Anyways, welcome to Ruben Uncut. Today, I'm going to be talking about someone who I briefly mentioned in my previous podcast episode, just Pearly Things. You see, I thought that Tim Pool was going to play a clip for you, but he didn't play that clip. So I've decided to play that clip for you. But first, a little introduction. We're here today to talk about a woman who goes by just Pearly Things, or Pearl. From what I've looked up, she apparently has a first name that starts with an H. Don't know what it is. Don't know if it matters. They want to be called Pearly Things, that's fine. Or Pearl, whatever. Lots of people go by their middle name. However, that's where the innocuous facts about Pearly Things ends. Pearly Things is, it's going to be rough when the charitable description of a person is a grifter. Because she is either a grifter or an absolute maniac. She's also very ignorant or pretending to be very ignorant, because it goes along with her women are the worst pitch that she's giving to men in order to get 1.78 million followers on the YouTubes. She is most well known for saying that women shouldn't have the right to vote. Some people have called her the female Andrew Tate. I don't think that's entirely fair. She's not committing any sex crimes right now that I'm aware of. The only crime she's really committing is being a terrible, grifting person who is bad for society in general. Now, she normally lives in London, but during this clip, she is visiting Vegas. I think she's an American. Don't know why she lives in London. Or at least she has an American accent. She does not sound British, is my point. This is Pearl. Let's see what she has to say.
I was thinking yesterday, I had this thought, as Pearl does. And the thought was, are we really that smart? And I was thinking, we have all these IQ tests, right? That tell us women are like smarter, we're more mature than men. And I'm like, is that what I see in real life? And I just started thinking, I'm like.
So first off, we've got to address some things. Pearl has just said a thing that is objectively not true. There are no current studies that indicate that women are smarter than men. As far as I'm aware, the concept of women being smarter than men comes from a song that was played on the I Love Lucy show that would later be played by the Grateful Dead a good bit, called The Women Are Smarter. But that's just a song. The reality is that IQ testing generally indicates that there are no significant statistical differences between the intelligence of men and women. That along the spectrum of intelligence, we average out about the same. And even that would be an overly simplistic view of everything I just said. She's going to say a bunch of other dumb shit here, specifically about IQ tests.
Do I really see women acting more maturely?
It doesn't matter. First of all, there are so many reasons why it doesn't matter what you see, Pearl. First of all is implicit bias. If you're just judging things off events that are happening around you, there are no, what's a good word for it? Protections against your own personal biases and perspective issues. How often do you interact with women and stop to think, is this woman smart or is this woman mature? The reality is that you only notice it when noticeable events occur. meaning that you're constantly just thinking about the things that come to your mind first. And when you have this implicit bias to your worldview, those thoughts are going to come to you. That is, providing she is in fact being honest here and not just a heartless grifter.
I mean, men might get into a brawl over something stupid, but they kind of work it out. Where women, it's like
they kind of work it out. This is an insane concept that has no real understanding of man-on-man violence. The reality is that when we talk about man-on-man violence, we're normally talking about like schoolyard brawls where like kids fight and then later they're best friends. I've got bad news for you. That's not how reality works. If you have the option to fight a person and then never see them again, you will not become friends after that fight. If you fight a person that's in your life and you can't escape them, you might normalize your relationship back a certain level. But the reality is that physical violence is way more intense than any of these loser alpha male red pillars are going to ever admit to you, with the only one of them knowing anything about physical violence being Andrew Tate. And he's clearly a psychopath. But the thing she said, not true. There's no evidence for that. There are a lot of people that will point out to you that women mature faster than men, but the fact that women mature faster than men, those differences normally take place early in life and aren't really as relevant to being a grown adult, which isn't to say you can't meet plenty of men or women who suffer from arrested development. And yes, it's more than just a TV show that was... Wait, anyone I'd have to explain that to probably wouldn't have seen the TV show. It's on Netflix. You might have seen it. I don't know. Moving along.
We're petty to each other for like a decade. A literal decade. It's like you'll see sorority sisters that haven't seen each other in years talking about how they like hate each other like 10 years later. I'm like, is that really maturity? I'm like, I think they just tell us.
Women on women relationships are weird. I'm not going to lie. I don't understand. Women seem to be able to accept each other and harshly judge each other at the same time. It's an amazing tightrope act. However, it has literally nothing to do with anything Pearl is talking about right now.
This to like make us delusional for a lifetime. And I started thinking about our smartness, and I'm like, are women?
Also, like, no, I'm not going to take that shot at Pearl. I've changed my mind. Don't worry, I'll take other shots.
I like to think I'm a smart chick.
That seems counterproductive to your entire grift.
But we can all be idiots. So it's like...
Especially you, Pearl.
Let me think about this. If we're so smart, where is the female Elon Musk? Where is the female Bill Gates? Where is the female... Even I was thinking of the influencers. I'm like...
Oh my God. Okay, so like literally right here is someone who's trying to measure something without data. Okay? All right? And also to look at situations with no context. Why is there no female Elon Musk? Well, I'm going to guess because no women have borrowed money from their emerald owning parents to start major corporations and steal other people's inventions. I couldn't possibly imagine why there are so few female Elon Musks. Never mind the fact that the world is actually full of scientists. Is that what she's referring to? Because there are lots of very productive scientists. Many of them are women. Many of them are men. The point... What should we view Elon Musk as exactly? Rich? You know, there are women entrepreneurs. Have you ever seen Shark Tank? There are literally women on that show. Literally investment women who make billions of dollars. Does it matter how a person is rich and successful? Like, can we measure Oprah with Elon Musk? They have about, like... Arguably, Oprah has done more than Elon Musk, who promises and under-delivers frequently. And now that other companies are starting to make electric cars, will soon find himself in a market with actual competition. I'm not sure how good of a businessman Elon Musk even is. After all, he bought Twitter for way more than it was worth, and then threw out the only thing that was valuable from Twitter, which was Twitter's branding, to attach it to X, which is still hosted at twitter.com. I don't think he's good at his job. You know what? You're right, though, Pearl. Where are the women causing us to be smooshed to death at the bottom of the ocean in unsafe submarines? Where are the women doing that?
Influencing and like monetizing beauty is something women are better at. Just because we're
No. This is a misunderstanding. This is a misunderstanding of supply and demand. For decades, men have wanted beauty from women. It has been pushed in all the media, the desire to get beauty from women for men. So now that women are learning how to capitalize on that without having to get like a modeling agency or something, now it's a problem, apparently. That's why female influencers exist. Okay? And then they sell beauty tips to other women so that other women can give beauty to men. Do you understand how this is a patriarchal system that we're describing here? That's where the demand comes from men for these things, and that's where the supply and demand begins. Fresh and Fit actually mentioned this in the last video I was doing, although they may not have been aware of what they were saying. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. The guy with the beard, who I didn't know who he was, said this. Fresh and Fit were dumb about this. My bad.
bodies, but I'm like, is there a female Ben Shapiro that's like
There is literally, and they're related to him, is my understanding.
equally as smart as him or smarter?
Ben Shapiro's not that smart. Okay, so here is my definitive theory about Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro at one point was a teenager who realized he was smarter than a lot of the adults around him, and at that moment stopped learning. He is still a wiry, smart for a 15-year-old who now just has his own business. A man who frequently brags that he went to one of the most prestigious schools in the world and they taught him nothing, without realizing what an incredibly insane self-own that is.
No, I've never seen a chick
There are literally lots of women who do this, who do Ben Shapiro's job.
that recites stats like Ben Shapiro. And don't get me wrong, there are some smart women out there, but as a group, as a collective, I'm like,
why are you looking for specific individual examples if you're talking about the group collective average? That doesn't make sense. Those are different. Insane.
are we really that smart? And then I started thinking about our decision making, and I'm like, whenever we take over an industry.
Where's your data for this? You just talked about how Ben Shapiro has all this data. Where is your data for this?
We just like ruin it. It's so sad. We'll like base everything off our feelings.
What industries have women ruined exactly? Women have been part of industries for hundreds of years. Not only that, but like my understanding is that statistically, Fortune 500 companies that have women on their boards do pretty well. Like, what exactly have women in companies ruined? I mean, there's still women who are part of major corporations and therefore technically evil, but I'm just saying they didn't like derail those corporations with their feelings and vaginas.
And like add an HR departments and like
HR departments are important. If you don't want an HR, look, HR departments are annoying, but if you don't understand why companies need HR departments, do you understand how much of your boss's time would be wasted if there was no HR department? Do you understand how many situations like your lead manager would suddenly be in charge of dealing with and de-escalating if there was no HR? Of course, she doesn't know anything about HR. She's a fucking YouTuber.
take away the competitiveness of industries. So it's like,
what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Where have industries become less competitive?
and then we'll do all these woke hiring stuff. So
Woke hiring stuff. What does that mean? What does woke hiring stuff mean? Do you mean hiring women and minorities? Is that what you mean? Look, somebody's got to hire women and minorities. We can't just go around screaming affirmative action or wokeism every time somebody hires women or minorities. I hate that capitalists don't understand capitalism.
I'm like, wow, guys. I think they fake the IQ tests and tell us that we're smarter when we're not actually smarter. Because it just doesn't make sense. I'm like, how the hell are women smarter than men? You can't convince me of this.
Once again, I will remind you that the premise to her entire, the entire video is wrong. There is no statistical significant difference between men and women when you look at the averages for our intelligence. You may find areas of specific types of intelligence where men or women might be slightly better than each other, but when you look at overall total averages, we are about the same intelligence. Most of what she is doing here, and you have to understand this, most of what she is doing here is vague gesturing to your intuition. Part of the brilliance of being vague is that it allows the viewer to interpret it however they want to themselves.
This is not real. They're faking it. All right, I think my Uber's here, so I gotta go. But let me know, guys. Vegas, yes or no? Are we really that smart? I don't see it, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, hold on. Uber?
Just want to make a note here. Any editing you witness of Pearl's video is to get away from the parts where she's not talking at all and they don't matter. Or like getting in her Uber car.
A crazy ex-boyfriend. I'm not even saying I'm special, but it's like, if women are really, because I was literally thinking about this last night. I was like, if women are really smarter than men, really, because that's what they're saying. They're like, women, we're just these like big smarty pantses and we're so smart. And I just kept thinking,
no, it's not a thing. There is no credible academic source that says that. Even if I were to consider IQ tests important, legitimate, or very scientific, I could still tell you it would still mean that you were wrong. Because what are you measuring it on? Oh, some people I heard say that this was the way it was. Well, Pearl, then you're arguing with those people and not actual science or data.
I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, if we're that smart, where is the female Elon Musk? Do you know who our Elon Musk is?
Literally repeating the same points. I mean, I guess I'm no one to judge, but I can blame my autism. And I don't know. I think if she was autistic, she might be smarter.
Kim Kardashian.
Only in the loosest sense. Kim Kardashian is the equivalent to Elon Musk. Okay, Pearl, could you explain how you're measuring this exactly? Like, what makes Elon Musk important? That people like him, that he's in the news all the time, that he's rich, that he owns a business. Kim Kardashian's rich, she owns a business. Like, what are we, what is the line we're drawing here? What is the line we're drawing?
And then I kept finding out about these female inventors. And then
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of female inventors. Go to Wikipedia, whole list. America has its own section. That's how many women inventors there were. Every other country is one section. America, own section of women inventors. Go look it up. Go look it up. Dumb bitches.
Research them were these female business owners. And I would research them. I'd be like, okay, thank you. These smarty pants female business owners. Oh my God. All of them, their husbands did most of the work.
I'm going to need some citation for that. I'm going to need some citation for that, Pearl. First of all, which women did you look into? I don't think anyone, I don't think Oprah's husband did that much. And I think she was rich and powerful and successful businesswoman before she got married. I could be totally off base on that. But like, what if we were to reverse this argument? Pearl, have you ever looked into how many male inventors were like benefited greatly from the work of their wives? Because that's a thing. DNA, motherfucker. DNA. Practically stole it from his wife.
That's the crazy thing. I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, this next, I would find one chick and I would be like, okay, this chick has to be the smarty pants we're looking.
Also, what about Elon Musk's dad? Having a rich dad who owns diamond mines already made it so Elon Musk walked into every room with some clout. Even if his dad didn't loan him money, people would still associate him with his dad's wealth.
For this woman, they say that women are smarter than men. So I'm just looking, and this is, I think they make up these studies.
You haven't cited a study. You're just bullshitting.
I think they make up these studies. I think they make up these IQ tests to make women feel like we do more than we actually do. Because if we really did all that we think we did, we would have the outcomes. We'd have all these smart women. And then I started.
Oh my God. Oh my God. The amount of explanation I would have to go into to explain what everything that is wrong with what she is saying right now is insane. Like, see, this is the thing, is she is viewing this concept in a vacuum. It is based on a misguided assumption that people who put in the same amount of work will have the same outcomes, or that the different industries will somehow lead to people who are exceptional in those different industries reaching the same outcomes. It doesn't make sense. She's going to ignore systemic racism and sexism and poverty and everything else that could influence how you go into your success and also how you come out of it. She is going to discount all of that by just saying, where are the women Elon Musk? I don't get it. And it's like, you dumb bitch. He's not even the smartest rich guy alive today. In fact, arguably, he might be one of the stupidest ones.
And then I started looking at female CEOs. And it was like, every time a chick would like take over, they would just like run it into the ground.
Give me an example. Give me an example of that. Because the standard statistics disagree with that comment. Who, when, where, how often has it happened? What articles or studies are you citing, Pearl? Her studies and articles are, she made it up.
And I don't say this, like, guys, you know, I make a lot of money for my age. You know, I'm really successful for a woman.
Do you hear it? Do you hear like it's almost like misogyny is the product that has product placement in these videos. It's almost like every once in a while she'll be like, oh, by the way, misogyny. Delicious, goes down smooth. Now, what was I saying about women being stupid? Like, that's what this is.
But no, even for a guy. But really, I think what makes me successful is trusting men to make decisions, to be honest, because, you know, I had to get a lot of advice from men. And every time I have to make a business decision, I go to my dad.
You mean like how Elon Musk went to his dad? Do you understand why there are more rich people who are the heads of businesses? It's because of this type of thing. And like men need mentors too. Men need people to help give them advice. Like, what are we even...
And I just think, like, if women, like, I literally, guys, I could not stop thinking about this last night. I'm like, I think, and then I started researching it more and I found out that...
I really hope the Uber driver is a woman. For anyone who's just listening to the audio, she's in the back of the Uber car for this part.
In the 80s, and in the last 100 years, women have...
Just the Uber driver sitting in the front going, what is this bitch all about?
Women have really taken over education. And do you know what happened when we took over education? Everyone got dumber.
That's not true. That's absolutely not true. We have no evidence of that. These literally, she's just pulling shit out of her ass. Like, this is practically a Shiza video.
Everybody, IQ. Okay, this was the worst part. This was the funniest part. 2 women, now they have a teacher and a teacher's aide. 2 women cannot teach the way one man used to teach. That's how bad.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I've been in classes taught by men that have teachers' aides, and I have been in fucking classes taught by women who didn't have teachers' aides. Like, normally teachers' aides are assigned based. Normally, having a teacher's aide has more to do with like the size or complexity of the topic you are teaching. And actually, as a theater major, the most complicated thing I had to learn, which was theater history, was taught by a woman with no teacher's aide. Shout out to Dr. Banks.
It is. Like, literally, they now have a teacher and a teacher's aide on average in classrooms. And it used to be.
She just straight up doesn't know what she's talking about. She just straight up. We have had teachers' aides for decades. Decades. Teachers' aides are not teach. We've had teachers' aides, like teaching assistants, since at least the fucking 30s or 20s, and I know that because the creator of Wonder Woman and his wife had a mutual affair with their teacher's aide and got fired for it. So I know we at least had teachers' aides back then, and we are definitely smarter than we were back then.
To be one man, and the men used to have better outcomes. So I'm like, okay.
Men have struggled academically, and there's a lot of theories and ideas about why this might be. But I guarantee you, it's not because women are good at it. That doesn't even make sense.
Okay, can we... And then the last couple months, guys, I keep trying to find something that we're better at. I literally, and so I was like, okay, we're the nurturing, we're the motherly ones. I found out.
She literally has nothing to appeal to beyond stereotypes that she assumes her audience will relate with.
We're more likely to kill infants and the elderly. So saying we're more nurturing is like saying someone without a gun.
Hold on. Okay. All right, I've put up 2 articles here that will hopefully answer the question. Gender differences in homicide of neonates, infants, and children under 5 in South Africa result from the cross-sectional national homicide study. Why would poor starving people have a reason to kill infants? Retrospective national cross. Background: homicide in children is a global phenomenon. The under 5 age group is the second largest homicide age from after 15 to 19. You are most likely to kill your child before they are 5 or after they turn 15. I don't know why I'm sorry, that's probably not funny, but like, these are apparently the ages at which children piss off their parents the most. I don't know. Understaging age and gender patterns is important to assisting with developing prevention interventions. Here we present an age and gender analysis of homicides among children under 5 years in South Africa. From a national study that included focuses on neonaticide and infanticide. And I have not found anything about old people yet. Retrospective study conducted using a random sample of 38 medico-legal laboratories operating in 2009 to identify homicides of children under 5. Child data was abstracted from the mortuary files and autopsy reports. Both child and perpetrator data were collected from police interviews. We erred towards applying conservative definitions of homicide and excluded sudden infant death syndrome cases. We estimated that 454, 95%, children under the age of 5 were killed in South Africa in 2009. More than half were neonates, 70 were infants. Okay, mothers were identified as the perpetrator in all of the neonaticide. This actually makes sense from a lot of evolutionary perspectives, actually. I don't think that has anything to, and actually it comes from like a level of understanding nurture. Like, why do you think if you have a rodent or like a rabbit or something, if it has children in a space that is too small to raise children, it will kill them. So there's kind of a nature thing for this. Homicide in children is an extreme form or consequence of violence against children. The national study provided one of the first the failure of reproductive mental health and social services to identify and help vulnerable mothers. So that's okay. That's interesting. Men and women kill their children, and this one comes from The Conversation, which I'm not sure this is a source I would normally go to, but let's see what they have to say. On average, one child is killed by a parent almost every fortnight in Australia. How many children are killed by parents in Australia? Filicide is the murder of a child by a parent. Despite making up approximately 18% of all domestic homicides each year, precise data on the characteristics of filicide are difficult to establish due to smaller numbers and varied cases. However, one of the most recent comprehensive national filicide studies in Australia documented 238 cases between 2000 and 2012. This study mirrored trends elsewhere, with male and female perpetrators represented in roughly equal numbers. Common precursors to filicide include history of domestic and family violence, parental separation, and mental illness. Women who kill their children, research indicates that gender does in fact play a role in the type of crime committed and the motivations behind it. Accidental killing of children, for instance, are more likely to be the result of neglect among mothers and abuse among fathers and stepfathers. This reflects what we know about gender patterns in childcare responsibility and domesticated family violence. In cases where children are killed intentionally, women are more likely to kill babies and newborns, particularly in circumstances of unwanted pregnancies. Such offenders are more likely to be young and have low levels of social support, although it is increasingly reported amongst older women. Mothers are more likely to kill their children during a psychotic episode, so mental health reasons. For example, I don't need an example, why men commit filicide. Fathers who kill their children, meanwhile, are more likely to have a history of domestic and family violence. They are more likely to kill out of revenge towards a partner or former partner in the context of family separation. Okay, John Edwards shot his teenage children and ended his ex-partner Olga's death by suicide 5 months later. Familicide, in which both partners and children are killed, is committed almost exclusively by men. Scary. While gender patterns around filicide are important to research in order to understand why these crimes happen, not all cases fit neatly into the box. Mental illness is often a common interacting factor in both maternal and paternal filicide, and the causes are often complex and multiple. All right, now that we've had that minor interlude, let's get back to something truly unpleasant, more unpleasant than child murder. Listening to Pearl's voice. Oh, to summarize what just happened, though, her claims are not really based on anything, except you could say that she is manipulating the data to point out the fact that women are more likely to kill infants. However, it sounds like men are more likely to kill in almost every other age range. But ultimately, it comes down to about the same likelihood, just incredibly different complex situations, meaning that you can't really paint child murder in a very broad manner.
No, and I don't say this to like shit on women. I know there's great women out there.
I think you do, Pearl. I think you do, because it's what makes you money.
But I was like, as a group, are we really doing that great? Are we really like, and so I was thinking, like, what value are we supposed to bring to a normal society, right? Like, in history, like, women have brought value. And usually it's through children, but we're not having children. And I was like, oh shit. Wow. I was like, we're supposed to have 3 kids each to, like, replace the population. That's like, okay, lady.
That doesn't, wouldn't it be 2 kids each? I don't know. I don't care about that either. The point is, like many people who are in the misogyny game, she is now going to allude the fact that a woman's real purpose is to be a baby machine, confusing the concept of ability with purpose.
You have one job, have enough children to replace the population.
No one has one job. Women, first of all, that one job is like a multitude of different jobs on top of each other to begin with.
And we're like, oh no, guys, that's too.
Let's get religious for a second. If God didn't want women to do other things, he wouldn't give them talents and skills for other things so often, don't you think? Oh, wait, no. She's a red pillar, not a traditionalist. Wait, is she a traditionalist? I don't know. Let's get back to this.
That's too hard. We can't do that. So I was like, okay, maybe our jobs are super important. Maybe like the jobs that we do just really run society. You know,
they kind of do. You want to live in a society without, school teachers and nurses or nannies or other stereotypically woman jobs? You know who didn't want to live in a society without those jobs? Men. Men didn't want to live in a society without women doing those jobs. That's why they started allowing women to do those jobs, which is a big part of why women do the specific, some of the specific jobs that they do, just that they've arbitrarily been kept out of jobs for decades. And now we're just starting to see women begin to build themselves up to being of equal status.
They say in the media, like, we have all these like boss bitches or whatever. But then it's like,
my understanding is that 45% of CEOs and people on boards are now women. So boss bitches be everywhere.
Like, okay, when the rubber meets the
side note, boss bitches are still a cog in the machine of capitalism.
Road at these big companies, when these companies are like about to go out of business, right? And they
name a company.
Have to fire all the people they don't need. You know who gets fired? I hate to say it, guys. A lot of white women in HR, I'll tell you that.
How many women do you think a company needs to run HR?
But no, I'm serious. I started looking at it. The before and after of Elon Musk, like before, like he had this really diverse group of people. And then he was like, all right, we got to make money now, ladies. Ladies, you got to go. Now, I'm not saying women, like there aren't smart women that don't contribute.
I don't believe there's any evidence to suggest that Elon Musk fired more women than men. Also, it's worth noting that many people just quit Twitter because they couldn't stand working for Elon Musk. The only people who, sadly, were forced to stay on were those who were working for Twitter on work visas. Those people were forced to continue to work for Elon Musk, tragically. Oh, Elon Musk also fired a dude in a wheelchair and then had to rehire him because it was a PR disaster.
Don't contribute. We totally do. But like, smarter than men, really? And I was thinking about the smartest women I know. All of the smartest women I know submit to the authority of a guy.
She doesn't know any smart women. Like, if her range of people that she regularly meets with and is friends with are the same people who are part of the red pill community, she doesn't know smart women. Pearl and everyone else in the red pill community is constantly just running off of an absurd selection bias, where they always just point to the same types of fucking women because they're the only types of women that they know about. But because ultimately, the red pill is dehumanizing. Ultimately, the red pill is anti-individualist. It is a molding. It is designed to form you into being a specific way. It is conformity. The red pill is conformity because it preaches specifically anti-individualist theories. It does not allow women or men to be individuals. It tells them exactly how they're supposed to be. That's why the red pill is garbage.
They all obey either their husband or really smart boss, and then they become really smart because they're like listening to the guys. And I'm like, huh.
I would point out that she's literally just arguing everything from her feelings, but then they would become like a cyclical circle of, but that means she's right because she's a woman. And it would just keep going, which really begs the question why men listen to her. Like, what, dear children, what about this makes sense to you? You're going to listen to a woman explain to you why women shouldn't be listened to. Think about it.
I think I'm smart because I listen to my dad.
That doesn't make you smart. It makes you obedient. Intelligence is about two things: learning and critical thinking. Pearl has neither learned much, nor does she possess critical thinking.
He's the smartest person I know. And I was like, do I know anyone smarter than my dad? No. Especially not a woman. Like, sorry, guys. You know?
Who is this woman's mom?
And, you know, I really think the problem is we've taken away sexism. I was thinking about this. We took away sexism to the point.
No, of course she thinks that. Of course she thinks that. Of course. Why? Of course. Why am I even at all having any reaction to this turn in the video?
Where we're like, we're equal. And I'm like, we literally cannot be equal. That does not make any sense. You know, men are stronger than us. And I'm starting to conclude they're smarter than us too. Because
once again, this whole thing, oh, men are smarter and stronger. This is an anti-individualist take. The reality is that people's strength and intelligence only matters on an individual level. There's no reason to generally like gesture at all genders and try and be like, but it's supposed to be this way. If it's supposed to be that way, why do we have individualism?
Because it's like, okay, can we really trust these institutions? I mean, they're telling us women can be men and men can be women, like in the bathrooms and shit. Like,
just throw all the arguments in there. Just throw all the fucking arguments in there. Why not? Why not? Throw it all in there, Pearl. Just get everything in there. Tie it all up in one incoherent babble of a package for your fans to unwrap on anti-wokeness day.
In England, I just went into a bathroom and they're letting in there. So I'm like, okay.
Whoa. This video is on YouTube. I'm taking that word out. Because when I upload this to YouTube, I'm not letting the bot get me. I've no doubt they're giving her preferential treatment for having over 1 million viewers.
Okay. We clearly can't trust what these institutions are saying. So it's like when the institutions...
There's a fucking ad in this video.
Bring out these studies that, oh, the women are just so smart. I'm like, guys, is that match like what we see in real life?
That's not how you measure things, okay? This is important. To anyone out there who's listening, that's not how you measure things. If I lived in a box my entire life, the level of perspective I would have would be 0. Have you ever heard the story of Plato's cave? I'm sure you have, because you've probably smoked pot with someone. The story of Plato's cave, for those who are unfamiliar, goes like this. A guy leaves the guy is imprisoned in a cave his entire life, and all he can ever see are the reflections of light on the cave wall. And for him and the other prisoners, is their entire reality. And then he escapes and he sees the real world, and it is blinding. And he goes back and he tries to convince everyone else that there's more to the world. And they don't believe him. Why? Because they don't have his level of perspective. If you will spend your whole life just invested in one area or one perspective, you are going to have a limited perspective on the world. You may say to yourself, I've met hundreds of people, I'm sure. But hundreds of people aren't enough to form a clear pattern. You can't meet 3 people and be like, oh, it's a pattern. You could be right. 3 is enough is the bare minimum to establish a pattern, but not a meaningful one, not a foolproof one.
And then I was thinking about all this other stuff. You're telling me women are better at multitasking. That doesn't make any sense. If women were so good at multitasking, we would...
Women have had to evolve to be multitaskers in order to take care of babies. It's surprising that you're not the one making this argument right now.
Build societies. We would build something like...
Women do build societies. Who do you think helped make agriculture?
Men are the ones engineering...
Pornography has been a part of every system and every society ever. And women were heavily involved with that, and it's changed the course of history. I mean, in a very exploitative way, women were involved with that. But maybe this was a bad point to make. I'm moving along.
Hearing everything. And I'm like, then they'll say like women are just like more mature than men. And I just started
She's just repeating herself. I swear to God.
thinking about it. And I'm like, you know, frat houses, guys in frats will be friends for life. Like, those guys will literally be brothers. Like, I remember in college, my friend Sam was...
Is your entire worldview based around the interactions you had with sororities and fraternities, Pearl? Because that's kind of what it's sounding like.
...in a frat. And I went to his frat, and they would have these brothers back, and they would just be, like, best friends, and they would all... I mean, maybe they'd do some, I guess, arguably immature stuff, but I just...
She means hazing and physical abuse. Hazing and physical and sexual abuse. Those are major problems amongst fraternities.
Argue it's like masculine stuff, like playing games and like, I mean, maybe they...
She means walking around with a cucumber shoved up your ass, trying not to drop it.
Maybe they probably get too drunk or whatever. But like, you know, these guys would just, you know, hang out and be friends. And if they had a disagreement, they'd fight, but then they'd get over it. And it's like weird. Guys will like fight each other and then get over it. You know, they might like punch each other, but then they'll be like, okay.
Do women not get over conflict? I'm pretty sure most of the women in my life that I've known in my life have had ways of getting through conflict. See, this is what I'm talking about, Pearl. Your entire world perspective is based on these incredibly, in these very specific types of human interactions, which are sororities and fraternities, which you understand are like incredibly abusive systems designed to like force peer bond you, right?
You took the punch, now you're part of the group again. Women, it's like 10 years later, will still be mad about that one thing that happened. Like women, we get over nothing.
I don't think that's true. Like, what are you, like, how are you measuring that?
And I'm not even saying I'm special. I'm like, there's shit I remember. I could tell you which bitches I hated in high school. And that was 10 years ago.
Everyone remembers the people they hated.
And then they'll be like, Pearl, it's just you. And I'm like, it's just you.
Do you understand there's a difference between remembering the bitches in high school you hated and remembering your friends? Like, Pearl, did you not have any real friends? Is that what this is, Pearl? Do you struggle to make women friends? Do other women generally act like bitches to you? Is that what it is?
It's just you just talk like this because you just hate women and like you don't speak for all women. I'm like, guys, you know, you can't make me blind.
Once again, perspective. Every human being has a limited perspective based on their own experiences. You have to do research outside of your own perspective to gain a full picture. She is basically going through a Where's Waldo book, but she's only looking at spaces in the book about this big and going, I can't fucking find Waldo. Where is he? Where is he? There's like just 5 or 6 things in this picture. No, bitch, the whole picture goes to the whole book. You just have to actually look at the details.
Like, I'm not blind to what I see. I'm like, you know, all these like sorority houses, when women are
once again with the sorority houses and fraternities, is this the only perspective you have on the outside world?
To our own devices and we're all together, it's like, what do we do? We're bitches. We're absolute bitches. But
maybe you're a bitch, but you can't speak for all women.
You know, when the wives talk to each other, the husband will be like, you know what, honey, I think you're getting it a little too off the rails. And they'll be like, the men kind of help a little bit. But it's so funny.
I want to know what that's a reference to. When did that happen? Was that your dad? Did your mom get drunk at a party? That's what that sounds like.
It's so funny. When women go into men's spaces, this is what I realized too. They just tell men how to talk. So men will like roast each other. And that's just kind of how guys talk. They're a lot more blunt. They're a lot more direct. And then the women will come in, and because we think we're so smart, we'll be like, oh, women, like...
Lots of women are blunt and direct. Lots of them. Lots of women are blunt and direct. That is not a specifically male trait. I have known so many blunt bitches. I've known plenty of other passive aggressive bitches who don't know how to communicate directly. That's fair, but there are lots of men in the world who don't know how to communicate directly. Believe it or not, this is not an entirely gendered thing.
Men speak like women and will be like, oh, you can't talk like that, you can't say it like that. So that's what you can tell if a man is like saying, oh, you shouldn't say it like that. You need to watch your language. He's probably...
If you tell a conservative you shouldn't say it like that, they'll scream that you're censoring them, even though you're just trying to help them stop looking like fucking morons.
Probably led by some woman in his life that he's afraid of. Like, I was on this podcast the other day. This guy was like, oh, if my mom heard you say that. Well, why are you like 40 or 35 and afraid of your mom? Like, guys, that shouldn't be normal. For women either. Like, it really shouldn't be normal. But I realized the other thing that's a crazy...
Why? Why not? That's how the patriarchy works. You should always fear your parents.
That's a crazy red pill. It's not daddy issues. They're all mommy issues because the mothers we just talk into our kids' ear.
Just take all the blame off the dads. Just take all the blame off the dads. Let me tell you right now, people have daddy issues, okay? I've got problems with my dad, like a lot. I still love the dude, but he's annoying as fuck. I love you, Dad. I honestly don't know if you listen to these, Dad. I honestly don't. And you probably won't listen to this one specifically. I don't know. Let's move along.
And we just like tell them how evil their dad is. And usually the dad isn't even that evil. Because I don't know why, like women.
This is such a bad faith. This is just a bad faith read of women.
Why? Like women, when we're just left to our own devices, we just kind of go crazy. And you see it because you see it in
men left to their own devices tend to go crazy. Have you seen The Lighthouse?
In like all of the, and that's what they'll do. They'll be like, study, but I'm not blind. Like even Jennifer Aniston, she was America's sweetheart. She's kind of going nutty. Like if we are single.
I'm actually not sure of how Jennifer Aniston is going nutty. I think Gwyneth Paltrow is the one who's gone nutty. But maybe I missed Jennifer Aniston doing something crazy. I don't know. No, I'm not gonna. I Googled the infanticide thing, but I'm not gonna Google that.
Single for too long and by ourselves, we just go nutty. I don't know why. But the men, it's like,
anyone left alone too long goes nutty. That's just, there's a reason that NASA tests all astronauts for that.
It's like, I mean, maybe they go a little nutty, but it's just not the same. Like, you know, I mean, I think some of them get addicted to sex, sure, but you know, honestly, the
worst thing that can happen to a man is he becomes addicted to sex. Actually, that probably would be pretty destructive.
From a biological point of view, that they would have been winning. Like, they would have had all the kids in history. So, you know.
Sometimes being addicted to sex is how you have all the kids in history. Hey-o! No high five? No one's gonna high five me back? Oh, okay.
You know, I mean, I do think that fucks guys up too, so I'm not saying not, but even the fact that I have to say, but guys, like I can't have a conversation, like it's so funny, you realize you have this gut reaction. Every time you say something about women, you have to say, but, and then bring up whatever's wrong with the men just to make like us women feel better. Because our whole lives we've just been told, you're so special.
I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. I've never done this. I don't know anyone who does this. Anyone who is doing this is way too focused on gender, like to an absurd degree. Like, okay, many people will tell you that I'm a pretty politically correct person, generally speaking, when it comes to men, women, LGBTQ stuff, race, all of that. Pretty politically correct. I'm not afraid to talk shit on women. However, I don't talk shit on women as a concept, okay? Why would I talk shit on women as a group? No, you gotta talk shit on specific women and specific men for their specific behaviors and actions. Why? Because that's really the only acceptable way to go about it. Which is why I'm here to tell you that Pearl is an ignorant bitch.
You're so special and smart and amazing. And it turns out,
I feel like this has a lot to do with the way she was raised.
Like from a historical point of view, we're not that special, not that smart, or not that amazing. And I was thinking about it.
Did you know there were more than one Queen of England who led the country? Did you know that? Did you know there have been women kings and leaders in history? They're not as common as men, you know, because men like to hog those spots, but that's a thing. By the way, like, you do understand that percentile wise, the majority of men never became these world leaders.
Because I was thinking about what has made women special from a historical point of view, like throughout time, right? And like what you would...
Are women special? You could hypothetically say that they have an amazing superpower, but to be fair, their superpower works in conjunction with men's donations. But, you know, that's a reduction of an individual to their biological qualities.
Have reproduced the most. And I was like, you had to have a lot of kids, which we're not doing. You had to be beautiful, which we're really not nowadays. We got this Botox that just freezes our face and makes us look funny. And like, we're not really that healthy anymore. And I'm like, wow. And none of us can really.
We've been unhealthy for a while. We had lead in the air until the 90s.
Like do anything. Like we don't have those traditional, like how many women can sew and like serve the men. It's like, no.
You know, I actually know a decent. I've known a decent number of women who can do things like sewing. There are also men who can sew.
I'm not even saying I'm better. I'm just looking at trends and I'm like, wow.
What trends? Okay, trends implies that there's documentation. Trends implies that we can look at it and measure it. What trends are you looking at and where are you getting your data?
So yeah, but it's crazy. If you say women aren't special, then you're the bad guy. You say
women aren't special because specialness is a term that is only applicable to the individual. That being said, Mr. Rogers said that we're all special as individuals. So you can look at it as I'm saying women aren't special, but neither are men. You, the individual, are special. You may be a man or a woman. This woman is fighting against something that doesn't, an argument that no one is making.
say women aren't amazing. Like we're actually just kind of like people. Just like if you say like men, they're not amazing, they're not special. Nobody would really bat an eye. But if you say that about women, it's like, not women.
Except that you seem to, Elon Musk isn't special.
You can't go after women. So, you know, my 2 cents, my thought of the day, that I thought about this for like 3 hours last night. I was like, where is the female Elon Musk? And I started, even like Madam C.J. Walker, the first woman millionaire. There was some guy that was super involved in her business, but those are exceptions. They're not the rule. If you look at all the billionaire men, they're all self-made. All the women just stole.
No, they are fucking not. Almost no billionaires. Almost no billionaires are self-made. Almost no billionaires are self-made. You know that Steve Jobs and Bill Gates' parents weren't poor? Did you know that? Did you know that? What when we say self-made, what do we mean? What does that mean, self-made? What part of the system did you not use? Did you receive zero assistance from anyone? How did you become a billionaire with zero help from anyone? It's not possible. Gary Vee wouldn't be I don't know if he's a millionaire or a billionaire, but the point is he wouldn't be rich if his dad didn't have a wine store and a whole bunch of wine that Gary Vee could figure out he could be the first person to sell alcohol on the internet. If you think that's self-made, then I think you're delusional.
The men, it's like Jeff Bezos' wife. Who's the other famous divorcee? There's like a couple, but it's just not.
Let's not count people who got rich by being divorced. There are other rich women. Oh, hey, there's someone who's a self-made person. J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling is a self-made billionaire. And then she gave all that money away. And then it turned out that she sucked. To be clear, she sucks because she's a TERF, not because she gave her money away. I actually agree with her giving a lot of her, becoming the first billionaire to stop being a billionaire by giving money to charity.
Even I was thinking Whitney Wolf Herd is like this girl they're propping up now.
I don't know who that is, and I don't.
She's not even the majority like owner of the company. Or maybe like
almost no companies just have one person who's the majority owner anymore. Almost none of them.
Like she basically has men run the company, which is exactly what I'm gonna do.
Do you understand what a CEO position is? A CEO position literally is a person. That's every CEO. Every CEO has other people run the company.
Some smart lady, I see the difference. But, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Maybe I'm just nuts, crazy. There's no validity. I just hate women. I don't know. But you guys can't make me blind. Like, I'm not blind to what I see. So.
What you see is irrelevant because you'll never know what part of the picture you're not seeing. It is possible to have life experiences that do map on to the majority. but it's very hard to tell when you're actually having those if you don't know what the most common occurrence is. There is a frightening lack of understanding of the concept of probability amongst these people. In fact, if there's one thing I learned from the coronavirus pandemic, it's that a lot of people don't understand probability. I have another clip. I don't actually know if I need to watch it, but you know what? We're going to watch it. If I decide it was unnecessary, I'll cut it out, which means you won't see this part. So if you're seeing this part, I didn't cut it out. Actually, I'm going to leave this part in regardless so that you'll know it occurred. And if it turns out this wasn't worth watching, I'll record another piece of video to edit in that just says it wasn't worth watching. This video is titled Why Women Are Not Smart. So this should be interesting.
I think the women are dumber than the men. So what conclusion does that lead me to? I think the women are dumber than the men. Because I think like our emotions just get in the way. We're too emotional. We see a problem, we get emotional about it, where the men can just think. What up, guys? Welcome to the Just Pearly Things.
I have autism, which means I have an emotional dysregulation. And I know plenty of men who either are or are not autistic who also struggle to regulate their emotions.
YouTube channel, and welcome to my whiteboard videos. Before I start, don't forget to subscribe to the
apparently this is another type of video that she makes.
Channel and ring that notification bell. That way you're going to be notified of my daily videos. Like the video on your way in. Let's get started. So today's lesson is why women are dumb. Now,
it's amazing that this can just be a video.
Please, guys, hear me out. Just wait. Don't get mad, ladies. I know you're like keyboard warriors already. But women, out of the two...
I wonder if the decision to constantly look only approachably hot is on purpose, or if she does not know how, or if maybe it's the modesty parts on purpose. I don't know.
Genders are definitely...
He doesn't dress the way that red pillars are normally looking for women to dress, is what I'm saying.
Definitely the dumber gender. Now, I believe that they're trying to make us think we're more important and more special than we are. Therefore, so we think we're better than the average man. And they have all these fake jobs and institutions to make us feel better about ourselves. Okay.
That's insane. Like, what would be the societal purpose of perpetuating that? What would be the societal purpose of creating fake industries and jobs to make women feel good about themselves? Why? What the fuck are you talking about?
So smart, right? And women can do everything a man can do. Where is the female Elon Musk? Where is the female Bill Gates? Why haven't we produced again, isn't it? You would think if we were so smart, this would have come up. And it seems...
No, it's not a real argument. It's not a real argument. It's so not a real argument. It is almost reverse inductive reasoning. Like, and second of all, inductive reasoning itself struggles because it cannot predict events that haven't happened yet. It can only argue from the basis of events that have.
Seems like every woman they've propped up in history as a top earning woman, it seems to come out later that there was some...
Also, is money the only measure? So money is the measure of value. So money is the measure of value. Is that it? Because you keep saying top earning. I don't consider that the top earning is not the most important thing a person can do.
A man behind her. So I got to thinking, are women better at anything? Is there anything women can be great at without the guy?
Oh my God. She's okay. She is so straw manning these things that, you know what? She's the scarecrow. She is the scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz. Because she's straw manning it that hard. And she has no brain.
Guidance of a man. And I just think that our emotions are too distracting. We think with our emotions.
Men think with their emotions all the time. Well, let me tell you, brother, I have made some emotional decisions in my life, and they were frequently mistakes. Some, not only that, but a person with really high emotional intelligence could potentially make good emotion-based decisions. This argument here is just playing into misogynistic stereotypes that her audience already believes.
first. Men think with logic first. Even the most successful, the smartest women I know still think emotions first. And my theory is they
Prove that. Prove that. I want you to prove that because I don't know how you're measuring that.
created. So let's do the average life of a woman. So we have a woman, right? Look at this. I'm going to give her some nice pretty hair. And we have a man here. So this is going to be Susie and this is going to be Bob. So what do Susie and Bob do? They go to, all right, sorry guys, I can't draw, but they go to
the least of my concerns, your lack of artistic merit.
School. Now, the school system is women teachers,
There are man teachers.
women administrators, and in my opinion, a system that
also have man administrators.
Is nicer to women than to men. Now, what is the average life of an
I've seen the education system chew up and spit out women.
average woman and an average man? First off, they go to school. And in my opinion, the schools favor the women. And how do I think they do?
How can you prove that? Because here's the thing, most evidence indicates that this is actually a systemic issue and not an individual issue. And by that, I mean men struggling in education.
This one, it is a completely female staff. Now let's look at
what school is a completely female staff? What school is a completely female staff? What are you talking about? Is it an all-girls school? What kind of school has male students and all women staff?
The last 100 years. Are women typically sympathetic to men? No.
While women do have many blind spots for sympathy to men, generally speaking, the average person can be sympathetic to men. And that includes women.
No.
I'm not backing up anything until she starts backing stuff up.
Women typically pretty emotional? Yes. And
because my claims are just as valid as hers, while she refuses to back anything up.
That is what is teaching the men and the women. Now, there's studies that have come out during
I don't know why she got these D-. Oh, they're supposed to be arrows. Never mind.
COVID that indicated that when women were home and their cameras were off, that they actually got worse grades, indicating that maybe the teachers favor.
Almost everyone got worse grades. Almost everyone got worse grades that way. Zoom education is not ideal.
For young women. And it would kind of make sense with what we see in society. The world is generally nicer to women than.
It's not even true. It's not even true. It's not that society is nicer to women. It is that there are specific behaviors that are rewarded by society with women. And therefore, people are inclined to be nice to women when women live inside these societal demands
than it typically is to men.
I don't think that's true.
So, women will get A's and the men will get C's.
But it's nothing to do with people being nice to them. It has to do with the systemic issues of our education. But of course, you wouldn't like to talk about that because once we start to bring up systemic issues, a lot of what you say starts to become bullshit.
And remember, guys, in the 70s and 80s, they actually switched a lot of the schooling to make it more feminine and subjective. They started way.
I feel like she's right here. She is referencing some other things she has heard from some conservative talking head that she has never done the actual research on. That's what it sounds like anyways. Who knows if it's true?
Weighing heavier papers, essays, and projects rather than standardized testing. Schools moved away from this.
Standardized testing is trash. Let me tell you that right now. Standardized testing is trash. Okay? Standardized testing is trash. If your whole thing is, oh, education doesn't work anymore, no wonder no one's getting educated, and then you suddenly like, we need to go back to standardized testing. Blah, 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 blah. You're a fucking idiot. Standardized testing is trash. The only thing that standardized testing teaches kids is how to pass standardized tests. Absolute fucking nonsense. This invalidates everything she's about to say.
And as schools
I don't know what she's about to say, but I'm pretty sure this will invalidate it.
moved away from this, we saw IQs drop and we saw men.
Standardized tests will not improve IQs. That's stupid. Oh, but there's lots of bubbling in, writing on the bubbles on both of them. So that's how the. No, shut up. I don't care that an SAT can also be used to get into Mensa. Mensa was based on the concept of positive eugenics. Fuck Mensa.
Men doing worse. So the men go through the life and they get the C's, and throughout this,
I graduated as a B+ student. Suck at those classes I got a D in.
they have a bunch of feminist, liberal ass women that didn't have kids of their own, so they just want to ruin yours. And
that's just ad hominem. It doesn't mean anything. I can do that. Like, Pearl, you're gonna ruin children's brains with this absurd mind rot. You're gonna give men a victim complex. That's what this is. It's a victim complex for men.
then the women go to college and the men go to dropout. Okay, so women, college.
I graduated. I don't know, like, first of all, lots of women drop out of college. Lots of people drop out of college. I don't know if there's more women or more men, but that's a very common thing. To generalize it this and make it sound like all men are dropping out is stupid.
The men will drop out, except for like the hard things, which women don't want to do either. Like, we look at college, the women get all the nice, fuzzy subjects, the men do the hard stuff, typically. So the women.
What are the hard and easy subjects in college? And how are you evaluating their difficulty, Pearl? I'm sorry. Did you get do men go and get degrees in how to be an offshore oil rigman? Like, what hard jobs are we talking about?
Women go to school and they automatically think they're smarter than the men because the teachers are telling the men to sit down.
I know a lot of girls and women who have inferiority complexes. What are you talking about?
They're giving them worse grades even though they do the same work. And if they're not.
That's not happening. No one is giving out grades based on gender. And if they are, they're a bad professor and they are the exception, not the rule.
Woke, which men aren't really with the woke stuff. You'll just see the teachers making the.
Define woke stuff. Define woke stuff. Fuck you.
Men's life a living hell. So the men say F this and drop out. And the women.
Do you think. What are we talking about?
And go to college. Now, some of the men do go to college too. So now let's talk about the jobs. Right now, we're seeing men actively being discriminated against for high-paying jobs. I spoke to a recruiter this weekend in the tech industry, and he said that he actively discriminates against men and hires women. So then the women
I'd like evidence that this person exists.
Under 30 start to make a lot of money. And they typically make money 3 ways. They'll either monetize.
I'm sorry. Do you think women make more money than men?
Their beauty or go into an industry that's subsidized by the government. So healthcare.
Whoa, that's a wild turn there. They'll go into a job subsidized by the government. Wow. Oh yeah, no, this ain't just red pill. This is right wing as fuck.
For example. And I think that the government gives us all these useless jobs to make us think.
What useless jobs? What useless job? What job currently exists that has no purpose to exist? I'm not saying those don't exist, but a lot of them exist for like weird corporate reasons. Not because we're making up fake jobs for women.
Think we're more efficient than we actually are, where the men actually do the hard jobs or say F this and leave. They'll look at the market and say, okay.
What are the hard jobs? What are the fake jobs and what are the hard jobs? What makes a job real? Let's be real honest here. In capitalism, what makes a job real is if someone's giving you fucking money. In God we trust, we put it on the money. Why? Because that's our God. If you get money for it, it's a real job.
I'm getting discriminated against for jobs that I'm overly qualified for. And that's where we see all these men staying home, or they go to
Ultimately, everybody got to eat. I don't know where we're getting this idea that people aren't working in some capacity. Everybody got to eat.
work and they realize that they're going to get a bunch of sexual harassment complaints, or the women telling them how to talk or why.
Just making shit up now. Just making up shit. This is literally just shit that supposedly people are afraid of. Oh no, the women might say I sexually harassed them. Oh no. Well, maybe you shouldn't sexually harass women. Don't get me wrong. I want to walk up to ladies and chatting them up. But let me tell you, I don't normally. I'll be at the gym. I'll look around. I'll see some fine looking ladies. And I'll be like, and there'll be a part of me like, it'd be cool if we went out. However, I don't bother them because I'm at the fucking gym. And I know I personally, when I go to the fucking gym, don't want to be bothered by anybody. So I assume a portion of those women probably feel the same way. Just being empathetic. I've been told by another man that this is the wrong attitude. I disagree. I think it's the right attitude.
Whatever it is. So they don't like that. Or they go do a hard job, and honestly, I think they're underpaid for it. So what do we see throughout this whole
What are the hard jobs? What is the complete argument you're trying to make?
system, right? Of making money and being efficient and providing value to a society. We see that the men are actively discriminated against and the women are given special treatment. And what still happens? The men still make more.
Where's your evidence? What special treatment are women getting?
So what conclusion does that lead me to? I think the women are dumber than the men.
That's not even how you construct an argument. You just laid out an argument for systemic bias in favor of women, and then you're pointing to it, be like, see, that means women are dumb. No, that's not a coherent argument. That's not coherent at all. You took us from A plus B equals X, and it's like, how the did we get to X? I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember how logic problems worked when I learned them in college. They're a pain in the ass, I can tell you that. But like, this does not form a coherent argument. Nothing in there proves women are dumb. You literally described women succeeding in education and getting paid. And that's evidence that women are dumb. And then you said that men were discriminated against and had to do hard jobs, and that's evidence that they're smart. But like, these things don't imply these things. You didn't draw a coherent line through an argument. You made an argument about something else, and then you're like, women are dumb. It's nonsense.
Because I think our emotions just get in the way. We're too emotional. We see a problem, we get emotional about it, where the men can just
like, it would be easier to believe you, except everything you've said.
Think. I don't make the rules. I just look at the marketplace, guys. So that
you don't even understand your own argument, which, by the way, is insane conspiracy bullshit. I've never seen any evidence. Like, where's the actual evidence? Oh, women just get by because we're biased against them. Blah 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 blah. Oh, men just struggle because the system is rigged against them. Blah 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 blah. Like, this is victim mentality bullshit. Like, this is the stuff that right wingers complain that us leftists do all the time. If you buy into this, it's why you're not getting laid.
Then I started to think, okay, if women have these great,
highly unlikely,
decision-making abilities, like we so claim, we're so mature and we're just so good at stuff, and women power. You would think, right, we would have a female billionaire by now.
There are female billionaires. What the fuck are you talking about? Have you literally never heard of Oprah? Oprah is a billionaire. Some of the Walmart family are women. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's lots of female billionaires. You listed some female billionaires.
Have the equivalent of a female Elon Musk, Bill Gates.
Why do you keep saying that? Is that like the catchphrase you want us to remember? Where's the female Elon Musk? I don't know. Probably dead because they didn't listen to safety and it killed them. Nah, I didn't think that joke worked.
But it's been 100 years with all this freedom. Where is she? The only thing we can produce is
100 years is an incredibly meaninglessly small amount of time when a lot of wealth was built up over generations.
Kim Kardashian. So then I started thinking about mate selection. Like, that's the most important thing that we have to bring society is children.
Children are incredibly important to society, but once again, we're reducing this to biological essentialism, which is the death of individualism.
And do women in general select men very well? Is that what we're known for? No, we start to pick.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That somewhere there's 1 point something million nice guys just sitting at their computer going, yeah, women are bad at picking boyfriends. And I know this because I don't have a girlfriend. Oh my God.
Drug dealers, criminals, and players, right? So let me get this
straight. Just these stereotypes. Okay, first of all, let's talk about this real quick. Almost everyone she just listed, with the exception of players who are capable of being rich. I mean, some criminals and drug dealers are rich, but the players could have come from a rich, well-to-do background. But the point is that drug dealers and criminals normally end up in those situations for economic reasons. However, also, all three of these people you've mentioned are not known for responsible behavior. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is they're less likely to use a condom, but I think I'm getting ahead of myself.
Straight. All right. So in a system that primarily props us up, we're still not more efficient. And in terms
do you think a CEO woman is dating a drug dealer or a player? I mean, they might be dating a white collar criminal, but like, do you think these lines connect? Do you think a lot of female CEOs are like, oh, here's my boyfriend. His name's Jimmy, and he lives in his mom's basement, and he sells Adderall. Do you think that's a thing? Do you think CEOs are just going around doing that?
Mate selection, we picked terrible. So then I started to think, okay, is there anything women are better at? And guys, I have been thinking for months.
That's how long it takes for her to process a thought.
Months. Now, I think they fake the IQ test because I've interviewed hundreds of men and hundreds of women, and I really think they're faking the IQ test to make women.
Why and how? Why and how fake IQ tests? Do you know how few people in the world actually get IQ tested? Do you? Most people don't get IQ tested.
I think, they couldn't convince the general population that women are on the extremes of the IQ test because, let's be honest, then we'd have some billionaires. But
there are women billionaires. What the fuck are you talking about?
They're like, okay, women, the average woman is smarter than the average man. And they tried to convince.
No one said that. Is not a thing ever stated by an actual authority. None of these systems of powers you have referenced have said that.
It says this, and I'm like, I don't believe. So then I thought, are we more nurturing? I don't know if I spelled that right. I'm a woman, okay? Are we more?
You gotta be fake. You gotta be faking it. You gotta be like, a lot of this. You're just jacking off your demographic. That's what it is, right?
More nurturing. And I found out that the most likely person to kill the child and the elderly.
I should have just watched this video. It's a condensed version of her previous arguments.
If someone kills their own kid, 90% chance it's the woman because.
That's not true. If it's an infant, it's most likely a woman. If it's an older child, it's most likely a man. We just read this article. Booyah, dunk and debunked. Debunked and dunked. That's better. No, I don't know. Shut up.
Because again, we process things with our emotions first. So if we get angry, we get upset.
I have seen so many men in my lifetime freak the fuck out when they get angry. A woman has never tried to come at me and fight me. That's fucking losing your fucking mind over emotions. There is nothing more emotional than a man who is actively trying to fight you.
That's all we can think about it. Like clouds our judgment. And most women can probably think of a time
It was definitely clouding the judgment of the people who tried to fight me.
where they got super angry or upset and did something that they're not proud of. Not to say that men don't get angry too, but men have to weigh the costs a lot more than women because they
What the fuck are you talking about? Women go to jail for murder all the time. Fun fact, Oklahoma has the most female convicts.
know they might end up killed. We're women, we just have no consequence, really. And that's why
What the fuck are you talking about? There are tons of consequences for women. Society regularly enforces lots of different types of consequences on women. Ridiculous. You're a ridiculous bitch.
you see all of these women getting away with killing babies in society.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Infanticide is normally punished. Casey Anthony went to jail, right? Am I remembering that correctly? Infanticide is normally punished. Like, who's getting away with this? Are you counting abortions? Because abortions are very different.
keep seeing this trend of them barely going to jail. So then I thought,
Barely going to jail? Barely going to jail. These women are barely going to what is barely going to jail? I don't even know. I don't know how many years infanticide gets. You know what? Hold on. I don't feel like let's say it here. What is the how long do you go to jail for infanticide? It looks like it might be different by state, but I'll let you know. Here's okay, that's not a specific answer, but it does say that women are charged with murder and go to prison under long sentences. All right, infanticide can be as low as 1 year and as high as 14 years in prison. So it's more that she's not providing any context.
okay, so let me get this straight. We're dominating this school system, making less money, even though
You haven't proven that.
we have all these special privileges, so we're not smarter than men. Then I started to think,
That hold on. Hold on. How do privileges, special privileges and intelligence cancel each other out? Those are not mutually exclusive things. You can be privileged and intelligent. What are you talking about? Also, you have yet to prove any of this. You've yet to set up a real argument. You are literally creating an imaginary argument.
okay, we're not more nurturing than men. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe we're better
Gonna take away the only positive in the female stereotype. Okay.
cooks, right? Aren't we supposed to be these like amazing cooks? All the
Cooking is not gendered.
top Michelin chefs. So, guys, please,
Yes, a lot of Michelin chefs are men because even though we believe that women can be great cooks in the home, there has been long prejudice against female chefs.
it's I sometimes I clickbait a little bit. It's not all women are dumb, but I just think as a group, women are dumber than men. And I think it's okay. And I don't think it has to be this big deal that you guys all whine and cry about. And which
You have done zero research.
goes back to the real problem, which is female narcissism. I think we all think we're more special than we are, we're more important than we are. And number one,
Based on what? What do you, I mean, there are bitches in the world that are narcissists, but like, what do you think women as a group are narcissistic? Are you narcissistic? What are you basing this off of? Are you just saying it because angry 14-year-old boys want to hear it?
smarter than we are. Nothing like a woman that thinks she's so smart. Well, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Maybe Pearl's just going crazy again. Mad,
Oh, we're going crazy in the comments. We're going crazy in the comments. Here we go. We're going to comment the hell out of this. Kablam. Oh my god. Some of these Some of these are just, wow. Pearl is brilliant. Wish most women were like her. She has the unusual ability to take a look around and realize the obvious, very rare in females. I know I said the word female a lot in this, but like generally speaking, I don't refer to women as females. Very, very cringe concept. It is not just female narcissism, it is also psychopathy. Oh, this is rich. The sexual harassment rules consider only the perception of the woman, but being unable to consider the perceptions of anyone else is the definition of psychopathic personality disorder. Women are being taught to think like psychopaths. It does not improve their ability to function as part of a team. They often have trouble working with people from other cultures. Well, we know this person sexually harassed somebody. Sexual harassment rules consider only the perception. Okay, first of all, like that's the most fucking, like the perception of the woman. The perception of the woman. Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, that's enough of that. I'm exhausted. So at the end of the day, here's what we've just watched. And a lot of it was very repetitive, and I apologize. Maybe I'll edit some of it out, but people will accuse me of cheating. Pearl, or just Pearly Things, is a grifter. Or she has something lodged in her brain. At no point did she say anything remarkably insightful or intelligent. At no point did she form a coherent argument. She literally just strung words together and assumed that her audience would like what she was saying. Brilliant, beautiful, hilarious. I'm going to go away now. But thank you for watching or listening. Wherever you're tuning in, be sure to check me out on either Spotify or YouTube, or both of them. Check them both out. Yeah. Please like and subscribe or leave a review. Apparently, that's what we do on Spotify. I don't know. I don't listen to Spotify, but it's very important to me that you do. Please listen to Spotify, specifically me on Spotify. Where was I? Oh, right. If you have anything you'd like to say to me, please send me an email at rubenuncut@gmail.com. Now, the trick here, of course, is that I'd have to really piss someone off for them to want to email me, because it raises the effort level of expressing your frustration and rage. Don't get me wrong, it's still a lower threshold than someone writing you a physical letter. But if I ever make money at this, I'm going to get a P.O. box for the specific reason of encouraging people to send me hate mail to the P.O. box, of course. All right. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful whatever.